Hey everybody, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little venti, big venti, the size of a venti. We're going to vent a venti. Whatever. I don't even know where that was headed. Doesn't matter. Today though, I want to talk about the stupid / ignorant / ridiculous things that people have said to us since starting our pregnancy journey / getting pregnant. And also just a couple things that I've seen online that people say in general that are kind of like, really? Did you just say that? But most of these are things that pertain directly to us. In no particular order. Some of these things make me extremely angry, and some of them are just an annoyance. And I will point out also that whenever we first started this whole thing, whenever we were like, okay, we're gonna try to get pregnant, I didn't tell anybody, like literally not even my closest friends, because I knew that as soon as you even open the door to something like that, everyone has their opinions, and I don't want to hear them. Especially whenever you're like hoping that something happens, but you're not sure if it's going to happen. Like, I did not want any outside crap to affect me. But my husband, on the other hand, he was very excited, and, like he's talking to his friends about it and stuff. And actually a lot of these things are things that his friends said to him about us. And I was like, well, you know what? It's great that they said it to you and not to me, because a lot of these things, if they were said directly to me, that would be it. I'm not speaking to you again. Because I feel like there are some instances where people just need to zip it, and for some reason the word vomit just comes out like morning sickness. And people just don't know how to have any tact about things, which is very strange to me. But he's a little bit more diplomatic than me, and he will just be like, well, this is how it is and we're going to do it or whatever. But he'll still like maintain a relationship with him, where I'm more like willing to just say, screw you, we're done. So, with that being said, let's get into this. The very first thing that we were told whenever he started telling people that, we were going to try to get pregnant, or even that we were thinking about it. This is, I think, the thing that we heard the most out of this entire list was, it's a mistake. Now, I feel like if you have an adult, like two grown adults, especially like married adults, if they're telling you, hey, we want to have a baby, or we're going to start trying, or whatever it is, your opinion doesn't matter. You don't get to tell them that's a mistake. Now I feel like personally, if we're talking about like a teenager, or someone that is in a relationship that is not a healthy relationship, and it's probably not a good idea for them to be using a baby as a Band-Aid, something like that, then I think in that case, very, very close friends and close family members should definitely be like, that may not be the best idea. But that's a completely different scenario. So I just find it very, very funny that people had the gall to say, that's a mistake. And here's the thing. A lot of these friends were like our trucking friends. And you guys know trucking tends to attract some interesting characters. And I would say that pretty much all of our trucking friends, with very few exceptions, are somewhat dysfunctional in their relationships and their families. I'm so thirsty right now. All of that stuff. So it's a little weird that you're like giving advice on that whenever you don't have a good relationship with your children, or you don't have children, period, blah, 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 blah. So that was a little like, you probably shouldn't even be saying that. Because then, if you are that person that says, it's a mistake, don't have kids, blah, 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 when we tell you we're actually pregnant, then it's not like you can be like, oh, congratulations, I'm so excited for you, because I know you're lying. You think it's a mistake. Why? Why would you even say that? Ooh, that one irks me. Like, it doesn't make me super angry, but it irks me that people are just that dumb. You're really dumb to say something like that. So there's that one. It just, like, every single person that told us that is someone that does not have a good relationship with their children, or they don't have children, and blah, 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 blah. We actually had someone, I don't want to give too many details, but it was someone that we had in our home visiting and stuff, and that, we just casually mentioned, like, oh yeah, we're looking to, try to start a family or whatever. And this person literally said, that's a mistake. You'll regret it for the rest of your life. Children are the worst thing ever. This person is also someone who's had several terminations, let's say. And I'm like, you're probably not the best person to be telling me what's good for me. But then also, in the same token, now this was said to me directly, but then to my husband prior to that, whenever they had spoken, just passing the time or whatever, this person mentioned how not having kids is their biggest regret in life, and how, they're too old to now, and they are completely and utterly alone in life. And I'm like, wow, that takes a special kind of person to tell me as a woman that I will regret my children, blah, 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 blah. But then you'll go ahead and go tell a man, oh, I wish I had children, blah, 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 blah. You're a special kind of someone. Special. So there's number one. Number two, this is something that my OBGYN, GYN, just my gynecologist, because I see a different obstetrician in the same practice. But the first time that I met up with my gynecologist, it was our first visit and stuff, because I had just chosen a new gynecologist to go to. I told her I want my IUD out so that we can try to start having a family. And without knowing really anything about me, other than that my medical history was perfectly fine, she told me, you're going to have an extremely hard time getting pregnant. You may never get pregnant. Just a heads up, it's probably not going to happen for you. And I was like, what? I literally cried in the office while she was telling me this, because I was like, huh? It was such a shock, and I'm still a little bit in shock that a medical professional would say something like that. I've definitely heard the horror stories of certain medical professionals just being unprofessional. It's one thing if there were underlying issues or something like that. If I had PCOS, endometriosis, something like that, but I didn't and don't, and got pregnant on the third try, which realistically speaking, if you didn't see my trying to conceive video, I talked about it, but really the third month was the first month that I had really figured out every little aspect of it. And then we got pregnant that month. So joke's on you, doc. But I mean, I feel like that's very irresponsible to say to someone. And she was saying it specifically because of my weight. And it's like, maybe don't say that. Maybe don't. Because all of the other OBs that I have dealt with in the practice, I see a few different ones. Whoever's available that day that I'm going in, they've all been super supportive, super nice. And then there's the gynecologist that was just a dream crusher. And that sucked. So maybe don't tell people that it's going to be hard until they actually start trying and then have difficulties, So there's that. I also saw a comment online. It was under a video of an OBGYN that I watch. She does kind of fun kind of videos or whatever, Mama Dr. Jones. Uh, if you haven't heard of her, check her out. I like her videos. But the comment was, someone commented saying, "Oh, why are OBs sometimes rude or mean to overweight patients?" And some other person responded under that and said, "Well, I'm a labor and delivery nurse, and just so you know, overweight patients are a burden on the system, and they can't have vaginal births because their body can't handle it, and blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Say what?" Like, literally say what? Like, I get that you're a nurse, but like, what kind of BS is that? Ooh, if you want to talk about a burden on the system, then let's talk about all of the other types of people that are a burden on the system, but not people that have good health insurance, that are taking care of themselves for the most part, except for carrying extra weight. And we can't handle vaginal birth. Our bodies can't handle vaginal birth, so we have to have C-section. What? Oh, wow. Like, the ignorance in that statement set me off. Set me off. And I have more to say about that coming up. I'll talk about that one right now, I guess. We'll skip over one and talk about that one. So the next one is someone in our personal life. Ooh, this person, I think, has been the most, I hate to say it, but like the most frustrating person to deal with. Second most frustrating. The other frustrating one I'm not going to talk about, but second most frustrating person to deal with, because she just has been so pushy and rude, and it just really irks me real bad. But she's gone off on a couple things, but she loves to dwell on the fact that I'm going to have many like complications in my pregnancy, which, hello, I'm more than halfway through and no complications. Thank you very much. I am extra sassy today. extra sassy, but I've been thinking about these things. I've been like marinating on them, and I'm just like, boo, ready to talk about them. But after we resolved a different issue, she then started in on the fact that, oh, you're probably going to have a C-section because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, no, because X, Y, and Z. And she just kept pushing it on me. And it's because she had to have a C-section, and because her daughter had to have a C-section. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, you had to have it done, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen to me. She had many complications in her pregnancy, and I feel like it's one of those things where, you know, you sometimes get unsolicited advice, and you know that they mean well. And so I tried to take that in stride and just be like, I know this person means well. I just thank you for the advice. Not going to take it, but thank you for the advice. But then there's other advice that you get that you can just tell is misery loves company disguised as meaning well. And that's the case with this one. I just feel like this person wants everything to go wrong. And because it went wrong for her, she now wants it to go wrong for me. And that is like a special kind of messed up. But, you know, it's like, don't put that on me. Don't put that out into the universe. I don't want that negativity coming at me and my baby. It is getting really hot in this room. The vent just started beating down on me. I'm going to start sweating in a minute. But you know what I mean? Like, don't say that crap, you know? And here's the thing. I've read a lot of things online saying that overweight mothers-to-be are pushed into having C-sections. And some of it comes down to the doctor is more comfortable doing a C-section, you know, or you may have genuine medical issues that do mean that you need to have a C-section. And here's the thing. Here's my birth plan. I don't have one. Get the baby out however you need to. That's the thing. Like, I'm just not one of those types of people that is like, I need this, that, and the other to happen in this order in order to have like the perfect birth. Whatever. Get him out whatever way is safest. I don't care. But it's like, I don't want to have a surgery unless I need to have a surgery. So I got really like stressed out about seeing all this stuff online of moms to be being forced into, a C-section, or I don't want to say forced because you can always say like no, but being made to feel like that was their only option. And it worried me and it stressed me out. And then I finally, like, whenever I went into my doctor's visit, after reading all of that, I like very nervously brought it up with the doctor. And I was like, listen, I really don't want to have a C-section unless I need to have one. And she was just like, oh, I don't want you to have a C-section. Like, I was like, am I gonna be able to have a vaginal birth? And she's like, why wouldn't you be able to? She was literally like flabbergasted as to why I would even be thinking that it wouldn't be an option. And I was like, thank you. Because there's so much misinformation that is given online by people that are not professionals and some people that are professionals. And there's a lot of information given that is like, this is my one experience, but they speak as if that's how it is for everyone. So it gets very stressing, and I feel like a lot of people also add to the stress of being pregnant without really thinking about how they're affecting the pregnant lady. So I was like super relieved. I was like, thank you. Like, finally, I'm hearing from someone that gets it, and she's like, basically like, it's more of a risk for you to have a C-section unless you really, really need to. She's like, I want you to push that baby out, or at least try to. And then if something happens, we'll go from there. But she's like, no one should be telling any overweight person to have a C-section because it requires a lot more recovery time and there's a lot more risk involved with it. So I just find that very like messed up that people would even force that onto people. So, that irked me whenever she kept insisting that I would have to have a C-section. Moving on. This is probably going to be a really long video. I feel like all my videos are really long, but I got a lot to say, people. I got a lot to say. So this next one is from the same individual that keeps forcing the C-section on me. This is the first thing that she started in about, and it really ticked me off the most out of everything. The most out of everything on this whole list. When you are pregnant, you have to worry about the risk for, is the light changing? I think the sun is coming up. You have to worry about the risk for gestational diabetes. Now, I talked about this a little bit before because I actually had my 1-hour test around week 18. And then, of course, since I did it early, you have to repeat it again after that. So I went into my first 1-hour test being like, everyone fails the first 1-hour test. Like 70% of people fail it. I'm going to fail it. I'm just going to eat whatever I would normally eat for breakfast. I had actually like Indian food leftovers. And I hope that the light is not, the sun is literally coming up right now. I had Indian food leftovers, tons of carbs. I'm sure there was like some sugar in there, from the sauce and stuff. And then I passed with flying colors. So here's the thing. This person had been insisting basically from the moment that we told them that I was expecting. Oh, well, the first thing out of her mouth was, well, you're going to get gestational diabetes. And I was like, huh? Like, I get that, like, a lot of people assume that just because you are overweight that you will get it. And even some doctors will push that narrative on you. But here's the thing. I've known 2 people to have GD while they were pregnant. Obviously, that's what it is. But both of them were thin, petite little people. And I've known many, many more fat people to get pregnant, and none of them ever got it. So I don't know if everyone's just like living in some different world than I'm living in, but even though weight may be a factor, I don't think it's the only factor. And my doctors don't feel like it's the only factor. So it was kind of like, we'll test you early just to be sure everything is going okay. And then we'll test you again closer to like the actual time that we would test everyone else. And I was like, cool, whatever. So I passed the first one. And this person, literally every time we talked to them, would bring up the gestational diabetes over and over and over and over again, and would be insisting that I must have it. I must. Again, because she did. And again, misery loves company. And I think she just wanted me to suffer from it. And whenever we told her, oh yeah, she passed her GD test, literally the next thing out of her mouth was, you need to ask your doctor to be tested again. That can't possibly be right. When I tell you I wanted to tie her to the railroad tracks of a runaway train, I freaking mean it. Like, that is the dumbest crap I've ever heard. My doctor doesn't know, but you do? Wow, okay, cool. So at that point, I kind of just like did not want to engage anymore. My husband kept talking to them because they're family friends and stuff, but I was just like, I'm freaking done with this. And she kept insisting to him, you know, that I must have it and I must go get tested again and blah, 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 blah. And we're like, you know what? We're not even going to tell her that I need to be tested again anyway, you know, because I did it around 18 weeks and like, you need to do it again around like 26, 28 weeks or so, just to be, you know, up to the standard of where we would normally test someone. So I knew I would be tested again regardless, you know, but we weren't even going to tell her that. We were just like, yeah, the doctor says she doesn't need to be tested again. She blew up about that and kept insisting, just kept insisting. And I think my husband even told her, like, you need to just drop it and let it go. And she just would not. And then so fast forward to last week, I went and did my second 1 hour test. And the funny thing is that I was at my 24-week appointment and the doctor was like, hey, by the way, we typically would like to do your next 1 hour glucose test between, you know, now and 26 weeks. You know, she's like, we don't usually wait all the way until 28 weeks. She's like, do you have time today? And I was like, whoo, boy. I was like, right before I came in here, like an hour ago, I just had like eggs and 2 waffles with jelly on it. Toaster waffles, not like big waffles, but I literally just had like 2 waffles with jelly on it and a huge glass of orange juice. And I had some coffee with sugar. So I was like, I'm probably going to bomb this, but I guess if you want to do it now and then I'll just do the 3 hour test, then whatever, you know? And she's like, oh, you know, we'll just see. So I did the test again and I was like, wow, I'm going to fail this like hardcore, which sucked because I passed the first one and I was like, oh, you know, I could probably just pass this one. And then she just sprung it on me with no notice. And of course I could have said no and just been like, I'll come back next week. But I was like, let's just do it. Well, guess what? I freaking passed that one too. Even though I had ate that big freaking meal with all the sugar, you know, like, and the orange juice, because everyone says that orange juice will like immediately make you fail. I passed with flying colors. Like, here's the thing. You're either going to have it or you're not. I don't think it really matters what you eat because you're either going to have it or you're not. Your body can either process all that sugar or it can't. And mine can. So what ended up happening is that we ended up telling her like, hey, by the way, you know what? We just went in and decided to do another test just to be sure. And she passed that one too. So then once we had crossed that hurdle, she immediately started in on the C-section crap. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, don't be that person. Do not be that person. Because that's the kind of person that makes me want to be like, did you know that a pig can eat a whole human? My grandpa has a pig farm. Maybe you'd like to see it someday. Soon. That's the level of like anger that kind of crap raises in me. So just don't freaking be that person, because what you're basically doing is wishing for me and therefore my baby to have serious complications. That's not okay. I mean, that takes a certain kind of messed up to want a baby to have complications. Let's move on. Oh, here's another thing. I feel like everything out from here out is more lighthearted because those are the things that really tick me off. But people are mad that we're preparing ahead of time, which really is baffling. We told them, that like, oh, we bought the crib, and stuff like that, because we actually bought the crib around week 12. Basically, after that 12-week appointment, I placed the order for the crib. Once we kind of knew everything was going to hopefully be okay. And honestly, like, even if it wasn't or isn't, knock on wood that it is, it's not like we would just give up after that. Like, there's going to be a baby, God willing, at some point in time, and we're going to need a crib for it. So it's like, we're just not superstitious type of people in that way. There are certain things that I'm superstitious, whatever, about. Just like putting bad stuff out there, like, I don't like that. But I feel like this is like putting good vibes out there. Like, we're getting a crib because we're having a baby. We're getting clothes because we're having a baby, So it's like, I like to put the good vibes out there. And then there are people that are like, oh, that's a mistake. You shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you want me to wait until like the baby is here and then buy everything? Like, get out of here. Like, number one, it's our money. We're going to spend it however we want to spend it. But it's like, you're not the one buying it for us. Like, what do you care? What do you care how we spend our money? Like, it just blows my mind that literally everybody was like, oh, you shouldn't be buying this right now. Well, when are we supposed to buy it? I don't want to wait until I'm 8 months pregnant to be putting together a crib and putting together, like the closet stuff and all that. Like, why? What is wrong with you people? I just can't fathom this. Oh, going along with that, the same people that continue to tell us that we should not be preparing for the birth of our child, don't want us talking about the gender of our child, which blows my mind. Like, it's actually kind of crazy to me that, like, whenever we were like, oh, we know what he's going to be, or what it's going to be, we didn't say he at that point. People would literally be like, don't tell me, I don't want to know. And I'm like, it's not your kid, it's our kid. Like, because you're basically telling us that we're then not allowed to say anything about our child because we at that point don't want to refer to him as an it. It's a him, like, and that just like, I don't understand that. Like, first off, these are people that aren't going to buy us anything, like, or the baby anything. So it's not like, it's not like knowing or not knowing the gender is going to like influence or affect your decision or anything like that. It's just very like cuckoo crazy. But second off, or third, or whatever point I was on, every time that they said that, we were like, it's a boy. Just to stick it to them. Because if you're going to be a dick, we're going to be a dick back. That's that. I don't understand. Like, don't be like that. It's our kid. We're going to talk about it if we want to. This happened early on in my pregnancy. Oh, and this ticked me off. We were out to dinner with someone, and we actually went to like a place around us that's like known for like having like healthy food or whatever, but it's like a sit down, nice, fine dining restaurant. It's called Seasons 52, I think. But it has like almost everything is like under 500 calories and stuff. And we're out to dinner. We're actually celebrating the pregnancy. I think I was like maybe 14 weeks or something like that. And I was just starting to like get my appetite back and stuff. And I had ordered like a little piece of like white fish. It was like trout or something. And it had some broccolini and like a couple little pieces of baby potato. And it was a freaking tiny meal. And I was starving because I hadn't eaten all day. And I ate it all. And this person literally said, "Oh, wow, you ate all of that?" Oh, wow. That's another one of those tie them to the railroad tracks kind of things. Because I'm like, of course I ate it all. Are you freaking kidding me? How dare you actually say that? Like, number one, you're talking to a pregnant woman. Number two, it was like a 400-calorie meal. Here's a newsflash. Yes, I ate all of that. And I had the little teeny tiny shot glass dessert that they bring you, which is like 100-calorie dessert. And guess what? Like 2 hours later, I had another snack because I was freaking starving. Who are you to actually be saying you ate all of that as if it was an entire layer cake that I was shoveling into my mouth with both hands? I just, what? Woo! Don't say that to me. Don't say it. Not to mention, this is the same person that whenever I said like, oh, I need to like gain less than 15 pounds for this pregnancy, they were like, oh, that's not healthy. You need to gain more than that. So they're telling me to be unhealthy and gain more weight, but then telling me, oh, you ate all of that? Oh, okay. Oh, Lord. Here's another thing. People love to spend your money for you once you get pregnant. Anybody else notice that? They are all about telling you what you need to buy, what you need to do. You got to do this and that. But they're not paying for it. They want you to pay for it. But they want you to take their advice. So here's the thing. Many, many people told us, oh, well, you got to start setting up the nursery. Interestingly enough, like half of them are the same people that were telling us not to prepare also though. And they're like, oh, you gotta paint the room now that you know the gender, and you gotta, do this, and you need a rocking chair, and you gotta have this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And we're like, yeah, we're not doing a nursery. Because he's gonna sleep in our room until he's old enough to move to his big boy bed, like maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. We'll put him in his own room then, But so long as he's like needing to be in the crib, then he's gonna just be in there, So we told them we're not doing a nursery. And they're like, oh, what? How could you not do a nursery? That's not right to not do a nursery. You have to have his own room. And he's got to do... And I'm just like, okay, cool. So, are you going to pay to have people come in and professionally paint the room? Because we've painted before, we're not any good at it. And are you going to pay for all of this unnecessary nursery furniture that you're going to use for like 6 months, and that he's never going to really be in there because he should be sleeping in our room anyway for, safety standards? So you going to pay for all of that or no? And the answer, of course, is always, well, no. Okay, cool. Then zip it. The other thing is, we had this woman who last gave birth around 1745. She's older than Methuselah. And she realistically, though, like whenever she was last raising her children, it was in like literally the 50s. And she's like, well, you're going to do a diaper service, right? And we're like, what even is a diaper service? And, my husband asked, like, what is it? And I was like, well, I think I kind of know what it is. It's like they bring you, like cloth diapers, and then they like take away the old ones and clean them and give you fresh new ones that are, or clean ones or whatever. And then some of them nowadays will give you like compostable diapers and stuff. But regardless, we ain't doing it because we ain't doing cloth diapers, and I don't want to do these like weird compostable ones. Listen, we drive a truck for a living. We are not environmental nuts. If you are, kudos to you, but we're not going to live some like, lifestyle that is just not us. So we're going to use disposable diapers. Get over it. But I also just cannot stand the thought of using cloth diapers. I know that it works for a lot of people. One of our friends said that she used cloth diapers and loved it. It's just not for us, though. It's just literally not for us for a few different reasons. But like, I looked into the service just for the sake of this video, just to tell you. In our area, you're looking at a minimum of $200 a month to utilize a diaper service. That's $2,400 a year minimum. That's like, in our world, that's like a new bathtub surround. That's like completing our attic insulation and everything. That's like a brand new patio door. Like, I'm not going to waste my money on that. It was just insane. And whenever my husband told her, like, yeah, no, we're going to use disposable diapers, she laid into him and was like, no, you have to do a diaper service, blah, 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 blah. Listen here, lady. If you're not going to be paying for it and also dealing with it, because I don't want to deal with cloth diapers, period, at all, not happening, then you can shut up about it. It's like, it's okay to say your advice, whatever it is, but if we say no, or if we say, yeah, we're not interested in that, let it go. Like Elsa, just let it go. So that, I think, is my whole list. This has been a long enough video in and of itself. So hopefully you got a little bit of enjoyment out of seeing me rant about these things. If nothing else, it felt good to vent about it, especially some of those things, because I really wanted to just like get that off my chest and just let it go. But tell me, if you have been pregnant or are pregnant, is there something that just really like irks you to no end that people have said, or suggested or whatever, during the time that you were pregnant, or about your pregnancy, or about wanting to have kids, or whatever it is? Let me know down below so that I can also be outraged with you. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.